On today's episode of That Mental Ginger Show, we are talking to host of Super Ginge, no, not me, Kevin Tierney. I think you all know by now that I only bring on people into my circle if they are honest, reliable, hardworking, and we have a good chemistry. Kev is definitely one of those guys. And I wanted to get him on to share his story and see how he feels about being part of my little ginger league. So let's cut to the intro.
All right, troops.
Kev, my man, how you getting on?
Not bad. Getting there. I've been out all day, so I'm a bit tired.
I know that feeling, like not with the actual going out, but it was a busy day, like working on finally getting my my business course finished. And
Right, aye.
I was like, oh man, haven't used my brain. It's tough.
No, we were just at buying uniform for the Wains.
All right. What year are they going into now?
Primary 6 and primary 7.
Wow, that is crazy. That's unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe that the boys are going to be like going term time in nursery soon as well.
What?
It's nuts to think about, but at the same time, they've also been little shits today, so I've been ready to strangle them.
They get like that.
Yeah, Mrs. Joy's a parent, is it? Well, you wouldn't. You wouldn't trade them for anything in the world, but like if anybody goes near them, you just want to, you would willingly batter someone else's kids to make sure your kids were safe.
Aye, totally.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so it must feel weird for you that you're going to be on the other side of the spectrum this time, being a guest to getting interviewed rather than being the guy that's alongside me as co-host there.
It is a bit weird, aye. It'll be different.
Yeah. You ever been on a podcast before? Like aside from obviously doing Super Ginge with me?
No, first time.
Oh, don't worry. I have broken many a first-time podcast virginity. I am a podcast whore. I seem to be, and they all come out smiling, so it's all right.
Aye.
Well, you know the gist anyway. But what I like to do to start off with is to get my guests to tell us their origin story, because that's the one thing we all have in common. We all have an origins. So, Kev, for my faithful followers, please tell us your origin story.
Humble beginnings. Brought up in Hamilton, and dragged up in Hamilton.
Sounds about right. I was dragged up in Airdrie, so I get it.
Pretty similar. Nothing special or exciting, just usual things happening, growing up, being stupid. Surprisingly not breaking any bones.
Really?
Never
broken a bone?
No.
See, I've broken bones, but
apart from fingers and toes, but I don't really count them because you can't really do anything for that.
Well, you do. You just kind of get like them strapped to another toe and they go, good luck with that.
Well, I didn't even do that.
Yeah, it's like, cause I broke specifically my right pinky toe 3 times.
Oof.
Well, first time was jumping off a banister, and I landed on it. Second time, coming down because I used to have it was one of those bunk beds, but like the bottom bunk would be like your desk and that kind of study area. That was for high school. So coming down that ladder and I slipped, down I went. And then the third time was when I was living with my pal Big Craig McEwen, and we were going to get a takeaway, and I turned a corner too fast and hit it right in the corner of a wall on the landing. And I was like, I'm fine. Let's go get this curry, because I was driving. Came back. I just thought it was stayed or whatever. And I looked down and went, oh, I'm bleeding. And yeah, so that was that. And the only other toe I've damaged was my big toe, again on my right foot. Me being a lefty, I always break everything on the right. I never broke it. I crushed it. I actually crushed the bone. Because I was falling down a flight of stairs and I wasn't even drunk.
That's disappointing. It's disappointing when that happens. It's like, I fell downstairs.
Yep.
Is that were you drunk? No.
You ever fallen
Disappointing.
up? You ever fallen upstairs?
I have. It's worse.
That's what you instantly take a beamer, don't you? Second when you fall upstairs.
And it's the shins. It's always the shins that get
Oh
it when you fall up the stair.
yeah, and you have that.
Oh!
Yeah, you have the whole Peter Griffin thing. For about 10 minutes.
I know.
Oh man, it's crazy. Well, but yeah,
I
it's quite weird when I look at like my right foot and like the toe that's next to the big toe, what is actually bigger than the big toe, and I'm like, that's just wrong. You get used to it. So for anybody that is not aware of me and Kev's like origins of how we came to know each other, we actually met at Coatbridge College in 2007.
Yep.
The first time round that I went to get my HNC, and you were there as well for a while.
That was my second time there.
So when was the first time you went?
2002.
You might have been. I think you would have been a couple of years before me, because I first auditioned in 2004. I believe it was just after I left high school.
That would have been just as I left the first time.
Yeah, because I auditioned, I didn't get in. And when I asked for feedback, why? And I will always remember these words, even though I can't remember the person that done them. They said, "Your acting was crap, your movement was shit. I advise you don't come back." So I went and got a full-time job, and I was about a month into my job, and they contacted me offering me the place for the HNC, and I'm like, no, phone straight down. Why? Because it was that same person. Yeah. So what made you decide that acting was the kind of course that you wanted to go down?
To be honest, I don't actually know. When I was in high school, I joined a youth theatre group in Hamilton, and
Nice.
it just stemmed from there.
Yeah.
I've done. I worked with them for a couple of years, and then I started helping them. Done some backstage work, and then I fell away from it because I was at college.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have the time. But it was just, I was like, I like that. I'll go try that, and I was good at it. So I was like, I'll pursue this and see where it takes me.
So why did you leave the first time?
I got my HND and left, and then a few years later, SQA contacted me and said, "You don't have your HNC or HND. We've messed up." I was like, "So what did I do?" "Oh, you can go back." I was like, "What?" So I had to go back and do it again.
So what? So did they say that you messed up or they messed up?
They messed up.
Was it the SQA themselves that messed up, or was it the college?
No, it was the SQA themselves that messed up.
That is bullshit, man. Complete and utter horseradish. My God, man, that's so you had to go back to college to do it again just because they made a cock up of all that.
Yep.
That is ridiculous, man. What could you not have I know there wasn't really a way to appeal the work if they didn't have the work, but didn't the lecturers even say, "Look, he's done the stuff, he's done the course, he's done his time"?
It was different lecturers that time. By the time I went back,
so by the time you went back, it would have been a certain SJ and GC. As we'll say, don't want to, even though I've dropped their names before, I don't want to drop them again now that I've advanced my podcasting game.
Yeah.
So, how long were you there? At the second time round?
I think another 2 years.
Another 2 years. Because I only done the HNC because of reasons that people now know about. So I never finished. I had to go back again in the 2012 to get that final year. So but you finally got it though. You finally got the HND.
Finally got it.
Did you think about going to uni or anything like that?
I thought about it, and then I decided against it, and then I thought about it again, and then I decided against it, and it's just too old now. Can't be bothered with all that.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that everybody says to me about like how they went to do their went to uni and stuff, and I did get in. I got into uni like an unconditional, but at the time I just didn't have the money to do it because I couldn't get a student loan or anything like that. So I was like, well, I'm up the shitter. And at that point I'd started going to my house and things were getting serious, and I was like, I've never felt this way about anybody before, so I'm going to commit to this. And yeah, that's kind of how. So that kind of really rounded off the decision. Even though I was like, I'm flat broke and I can't go anyway. And I can't move to air, so because that's where I got into. But yeah, it's one of those ones I keep saying to people, like, yes, your education is important, and yes, you should try and go to uni, but it's not the be all and end all. I mean, look at the stuff that we're doing now, and we've got our HNDs behind us.
I know.
Just proof the internet doesn't care about qualifications. They just care if you're good.
If you've seen some of the things that the internet doesn't care about anything.
Yeah. See, as long as you're good at what you do, well, the internet doesn't give. They will listen. They don't care. It's the same deal. Like, I remember watching it was a Darryl Breen stand up, and he would meet people who would come in saying that they had a degree in whatever it was, and they'd go, "Oh, that's nice. Make some fucking coffee." Well, and that was about what it would equate to.
I know.
Yeah. So, you're now a co-host, soon to be like probably one of the lead hosts of Super Ginge.
Yep.
Our own superhero podcast, our little ginger league, as we're calling it. So I've got to ask, why the hell did you agree to it when I asked you?
I had nothing else to do. That's basically what it was. I was like, you know what? It'll give me something to do.
Yeah.
I can't go out and work because most places have got these strip lights, which gives me constant migraines. So it's like, this is something that I can do in the house, where if I've got a migraine, it's not really going to bother me that much.
Yeah, so it's definitely a kind of good plan. But when did you start getting those migraines?
When I was about 16.
Yikes. Wow.
Yep. On and off since I was 16. When they hit me, they usually last about 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
So it's not your typical migraine where you get it and then like a few hours later you feel better.
Is it like a neuralgia kind of thing? Because my brother had that when he was, I think when he was like 11 or 12, it was the trigeminal neuralgia, and it was like, he had it for 2 weeks, and it got to the point, because he didn't know what it was at the time, and he would actually be smacking his head off a wall just to try and knock himself out to just get rid of the pain. The only way he could quench it was by drinking cold water, like ice cold water. Well, he was pissing like a racehorse for a week. Well, but it was crazy. And then when they finally figured out what it was, he slept for about a week because he couldn't sleep with the pain.
No, it's not as severe as that, because I've heard of people with that, and it's like, it's not that bad. But if it's really bad, I need to just sit in the room with the lights off, the curtains closed, my head under the blanket.
That just sounds like when I have one of my depression days, in all honesty. Well, that's what it used to be. Like, see, whenever I had a really bad panic attack, that used to be it. It was like I had to get like all my clothes off because they were so constricted, and it was just like into my room, like lights out, like hiding, and just trying to get myself back together. So, but adding a headache on top of that, fucking hell, man.
I know.
That is rough. So the pure reason was that to come on Super Ginge was that you had nothing to do.
Had nothing else to do.
Which was the main thing. But yeah, but in fairness, I think you've warmed up to the idea since then. Because I was at the time of this recording, I was working on my showreel. And obviously Super Ginge is part of the showreel because it's something that we do. And we're getting paid for it. So even though it's the Freddo money, but we've still got paid, so it counts to put it on a showreel.
It does.
And it was, and I put up the Battle of the Gingers episode. If anybody hasn't checked that out, please do. And you could just tell that you were really enjoying yourself. You were much more relaxed, much more comfortable. How did you feel like going into it at the start?
I think that one was a lot easier, because there was all four of us there, and it was just, it's like I've been doing it for like a year or 2 years. It's just like I sit down and we just do it now. And it's like it doesn't. I don't really have any time to psych myself up because usually I'd be sitting for like 10, 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
Now when I'm coming through, it's like, oh, I've got 2 minutes. I better set off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just to clarify, it's not been at the time of this recording, it's not been a year to 2 years. It's been like 1 to 2 months.
It's 8 weeks, I think, 8 or 9
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, about that. Well, because we got monetized pretty quickly. Like we got monetized in 6 weeks, which is no mean feat. I mean, this podcast took, I think it was 4 months. Took 4 months to get monetized. Well, and even then, people were like, "That's quick for a podcast." And then when I put up, yeah, Super Ginge's been monetized, and we're at 6 weeks, and they were like, "What the actual beep?"
Aye.
And I was like, "Well, you're coming into. I'm now a seasoned professional. It's what we do. It's what we do." And you've learned very quickly, since starting. You've done, your confidence is growing. You've gotten a lot better on the mic. At first maybe you didn't know how to maybe interact with guests and stuff like that as well. You've really come on strongly there. And whenever you're on a super fight, I always love watching you do a battle or do a round, because it's just like, it's like comic, it's like lore just coming right out of you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with this. It's all right.
Well, talking about lore,
Oh, here we go.
I just started reading that again.
Nice. That's absolutely brilliant. Oh man, what got you into superheroes anyway?
It was 1990, and I was watching Sky, and I saw an advert for The Flash, and I was like, "Oh my god, what is that?" Because I'd watched the Batman films, film at that point. I'd seen the 1966 Batman film with Adam West, which was one of the most funniest things in the world.
Oh yeah.
And I'd seen all the Supermans as well, and I was like, "Oh, there's the Flash. I've heard about him." And I was like, "I'm going to go and buy some comics." Went across to the post office, and they had tons of them, literally tons. I was like,
"Wow,
man."
Did you half-inch them?
No, I bought them.
I was gonna say, I was like, the way you done that, it was like you were just like, okay, right.
No, I did pay for them.
Right, just clarifying that before we got like a backdated post office going, hold you.
They've been shut for years anyway now.
Yeah, but the post office are like the tax man. It wouldn't matter if it were 3 million years extinct.
I know.
So that was it. So that was the kind of start off with it.
That was it. Aye.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how it was DC that started you off. When did obviously you're holding up the Civil War comics? When did you start getting into Marvel?
Well, I'd seen a couple of the old cartoons, like the 60s Spider-Man series and the 60s Iron Man series, and I was like, "Oh wow, they're mental."
Yeah.
And then it was the X-Men
and
Spider-Man. When they came out, I was like, this is good.
The 90s was a good time to be a Marvel fan as a kid. Well, that was I think that was preparing us for what was going to come, because they had crossovers as well, didn't they?
They did. They had the crossover with the Fantastic Four and the Hulk 90s one as well. I mean, I'd watched the Incredible Hulk, the TV series.
Oh yeah. Well, look at that now. Look at the Doctor Strange and the Thor that was in that. That's like some sort of LSD dream.
I know.
It's totally crazy. People
it's brilliant though, watching them.
Yeah.
I recently rewatched the Hulk series. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's so old, and yet a lot of the stories are still so relevant.
Definitely. Well, it is one of those things with superhero stories that and it's the same with shows like Star Trek as well, as we've talked about before, that it's meant to be about issues that were supposed to have been left in the past, and we're still going through the same shit that we were back in the 60s. It's crazy.
Yep.
What it's like we just went, okay, let's hit the reset button. Boom. Okay, we've reset to not the good points. Right? What?
Yeah.
Bring back getting stoned. What? That's just bring all the good stuff back. What? And forget the rest. What? Geese the good music. Geese like a new version of the Beatles or something. I don't care. Don't give us, like, no, we no longer have abortions and everybody's like, get, and we're all poor and dying.
Yeah, it sounds like the 70s.
Yeah, well, no one wants to relive the 80s.
No.
Well, aside
No.
from everybody that watches Stranger Things right now,
I still don't want to relive the 80s. I love the
no,
show, but I don't want to relive the 80s.
yeah, it's one of those ones that I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I can see some nostalgia for it, but we've moved into the 2020s at this point. We should be reliving the 90s.
90s was better.
Because it seems to be every 30 years that they come back around. Well, it's because me being me, I try and work these type of things out, because I was like, because that 70s show was big when I was a teenager, and that was in the 2000s.
That's right, aye.
Like in the 2010s, you had like shows that were coming out, like the Goldbergs and stuff, that were focused on 80s culture, and like 80s music was like synth music was making a big comeback and things like that as well. So we are now in 90s retro, but I think everybody's too scared to bring back Oasis.
They've never really went away though.
They've never went away. They've just like went off and done their own thing. Well, essentially, I would be more inclined to bring Blur back. But
aye.
Well, I mean, I was. Who were you in the divide? What, were you Oasis or Blur, or did you just stay out of it?
I liked some of Oasis' stuff, but I preferred Blur.
I was the reverse. Like, I liked some of Blur stuff, but I preferred Oasis. Just proves to everybody we can all get along. Like, for example, I like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones.
Yeah,
that's shocking in itself.
Yep.
So yeah, we need the 90s back. We need like all those really, really weird colored shell suits and all that stuff.
Just not as flammable as they were.
Oh yeah, that was nuts. Yeah. Bring back the Tamagotchi. I think it has made it come back a little bit.
A wee bit, aye.
But it's just not as well as like the other kind of stuff has brought it back.
Nah.
And everybody in like the really shitty Goa and high tech trainers. They were for anybody, any youngsters, Goa and high tech were like the Primark of our generation. The Primark brands, ones that your teachers would wear if you were going on school trips. And just they'd have the light up shoes, thinking they were cool, and we just thought we were all just a bunch of fannies, essentially. But yeah, I miss the 90s. But when I worked that out, it actually means that when we get into the 2030s, we should be going for the 2000s retro, and my boys will be my boys will be teenagers by that point. So I could be like, right, boys, sit down, let's put on Limp Bizkit. Get out my old hoodie, my Mosher jeans with a chain, and if I have any hair left from what those little bastards have done to me, I'll slick it back with a brow cream like I used to do.
I can give you some of that. I'll give you some.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll make a wig. We'll make a wig. I'll just put that on. Be like, right, let's do this. Me and my boys just cruising like in I wonder what car was popular back then. Ford Fiat, a Ford Escort.
Yeah,
or the old style Ford Fiesta, or Nissan Micra. Just cruising, playing My Way or the Highway with my kids, and they'll all be like, "Gay," because I'll have to say that.
A Ford Mondeo, a Mondeo.
Yes,
there you go.
Or Nissan Cherry. Something like that. Just something really, really dated. Or have that playing Weird Al Yankovic, White and Nerdy.
Yeah.
Just like cruising down like the tiny streets of Coatbridge. Oh man. Kids, you're in for a world of pain.
I'm sure some people do still drive about Coatbridge playing that.
Yeah, they do. But what's worse is that I start singing along to it. Yeah, but he's singing about he's singing about nerd culture, and it's everything we had.
Yes, yeah.
It's like he
I
talks
mean,
about like when you go
when Weird Al done the Stagger Begins
yes,
to American Pie,
mm,
all he had was like rumors on the internet about what the Phantom Menace was going to be. So he's like, I have no idea. It came out with everything and everything linked up to
yeah,
what the film was. He had no idea. People, did you know? He's like, no, it's just things I looked up and spoke to people who knew George, saying, oh, this could happen. So I wrote it, and he got everything right.
man. So he was basically like the Star Wars version of the Simpsons.
Basically,
He wrote it down, and then they're like, okay, Weird Al did it. Weird Al did it. I think that was. I think that was their culpability factor, that they could just blame it on Weird Al if Phantom Menace bombed.
Yep. Oh, he told everybody what was going to happen.
Yeah, there we
They
go.
liked it because they knew.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody retcons history about that and says that everybody hated the Phantom Menace when it came out. Oh, it was a travesty, blah blah. They did not. People were blown away by it. They were over the moon. They loved it. It wasn't until what I don't even know who was the first person that mentioned Jar Jar. What, and then it was like the worms just opened up. All this can of worms kablooey, and everybody's like, son of a bitch, you're right. It sucks. What? Although I personally still don't think there's bad parts about it, but I still enjoyed it. I still think it's a damn good movie. What?
And when you compare it to the last three that came out, I mean,
Oh no. There's just
it's like, you compare the Phantom Menace to even any of them. Phantom Menace far outshines them.
Oh
Despite
yeah.
Jar Jar Binks. Despite Jar Jar Binks.
Even like
helps. He even helps it be better than
I will take Jar Jar Binks over some weird Donald Trump gremlin thing on a casino planet that was in The Last Jedi.
Yep.
And I didn't mind The Last Jedi. I want to make that clear. I actually didn't mind it. I thought I enjoyed it. I just didn't like the fact that they retconned everything in episode 9 and tried to redo it all. It was but because the other fans went nuts. I was like, look, you're going down this road. People don't agree with it, but we respect it. I respect it. Like, stick to your guns and follow the story through. And they didn't.
They didn't know.
What? Because I can still remember, like, did you go to the movies to see all the Star Wars when they came out?
I didn't see the Phantom Menace when it came out. I saw Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. But I seen every one of the prequels when they came out. But I remember walking out of like Revenge of the Sith like I'd had an orgasm, because it was like amazing to me. And it still is. I still enjoy it. I still really enjoy it. What? So all you people that hate the prequels back in the day, what? But when it came to the sequel trilogy, what? I took my dad, because my dad liked Star Wars, and I thought, right, we'll go and see them all together. Force Awakens was episode 4. What? But episode 4 was good. Episode 7 was good. Done. All cool. Well, went and seen The Last Jedi. I enjoyed it, like I said. Well, and then when we got to Rise of Skywalker, well, I remember at one point, I cannot remember. Oh yeah, this is the point that I remember, and it was when Luke's Force Ghost comes back. Spoilers for everybody that's not seen it, but well, you're not missing much.
It's been out long enough.
Yeah, it really has. Well, so Luke's Force Ghost comes back and says to Rey, "What? Because you're a Palpatine, Leia knew." And my head just went straight down. And I was just like, don't do that. Don't use a dead actress as a plot device or an excuse to try and get around something. Like, you're better than that. It's like, oh, and that was a lot of it. It was all somehow's, or Leia knew what, or Leia knows this, who's off screen doing something. Leia's gonna help turn her son back round as she dies. And then you had weird imagination Harrison Ford of like, hold on, what is he legit, or is he What, or is he a force ghost? But he can't be a force ghost because there's no weird glowy energy thing. What is Kylo just nuts? Which is in fairness, fair dues. What? And I was like, oh my, that was just when I was like, I give up. I give up with this movie. I am done.
Nah.
Stayed
They were throwing far too much in it.
Oh
that
my
didn't
God.
need to be in it.
Yeah, it was horrible. In a way, I thank Last Jedi because it prepared me for the dumpster fire that was season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Oh God.
What?
What the hell was that?
It prepared me for that, what, majorly, because I was just like, ugh. What? Because I was kind of late to the game with Game of Thrones. Like it was season 4 when I started watching it. What? So I'd watched series 1 to 3, what, on DVD. My dad gave me the DVDs. What? And my dad always used to use a joke where if we were talking about like watching a program, we'd go, "Or they all die." He did that joke the day before I watched The Red Wedding. What? And and all my dad heard was me screaming, "Bastard!" And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "You." And he's like, "What episode did you just watch?" I was like, "The Red Wedding." I'm sorry, son.
Yeah, they all die. They all die.
He's like, "I'm sorry, son." So he vowed never to say that again for any part of Game of Thrones, like just in case. And to his credit, he didn't. Gotta give my dad his due. He done well. But yeah, when I got to Series 8, I was just like, I understand they had no source material to work with. So there's a lot of blame that could be fired around, but when you look back at interviews and you see Amelia Clark, who was going, best season ever, like in interviews, you're like, okay, that should have been the red herring.
Yep.
And yeah, that pretty much was.
I know.
So we are starting to come up on time. Normally, this is where I would ask, where our followers could find you. But in fairness, most of my followers are your followers as well. They know
most now. Aye.
Yeah, it's like the links will definitely be in the description below because I have them all. It's like if you want to go to Super Ginge, everything's down there. You want to see the work he's doing with me, all the links will be down there. And we do have a few surprises coming for 2023 at the time of this recording. So we have been having a little talk about them and working on them. I would normally pester the host for a Ginger exclusive, but since we are the ones that are holding it back, I can't even do that either, motherfucker.
Shot yourself in the foot there.
No, I didn't shoot myself. I took a double barrel shotgun and blew both of the fuckers off. But the one thing I can do is that I can still ask you the question I ask all my guests to round up. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody struggling with mental health issues at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be and why?
Talk to somebody. Talk to anybody. As long as it's somebody you can trust. Because holding it in just it doesn't work. I've done that for a long time and near enough had a mental breakdown. Yeah. The past 3, 4, 5 years have been up and down, mostly down. But finally, in the past 2 years, year and a half, I've got somebody to talk to. And it's helped so much. Yeah. Also, find something to do that you enjoy. With me, it's been Super Ginge.
Thank you, man.
It's been a big help as well, because that's also an outlet as well, especially with superheroes and mental health interlinking so much.
Oh, definitely, man. And a lot of people don't seem to realize that as well. In comic books, where a lot of comfort to a lot of people back when they were kids and they didn't feel like they could be the hero that people thought they should be, or they thought they could be, and if they were getting bullied or getting beat up at high school and all that stuff. I know that's what I was like. Sometimes I would be like hiding, zipping my hoodie up over and my jacket over myself, and reading a comic book with my best friends, which were Cadbury, Walkers, and Nestle. At the time, it was just sometimes that was just the way to get through it.
Yeah.
And especially when you say about talking to someone you trust, we know, like from the fields that we've studied and the boards that we've tread, there's a lot of vipers out there and a lot of snakes that will act
Yep.
like your friend but then stab you in the back instantly. Well, sadly, we've
Yep.
both experienced those things. And what the best part is that we've survived it.
Yep.
And we are doing so much better as a
Yep.
result. And I said that to you before, man, like when you started, if you needed to get anything off your chest or whatever, or anything that was going on, that I was there for you and we would work through it. And I'm just really glad that you're part of the journey with me, man. Trying to do something. I really appreciate it. And seeing the way your confidence has grown even over just a couple of months doing it, I'm so proud of you, man. You're doing great. And trust me, see if I wasn't such a control freak, you would already have control of Super Ginge right now. But I'm like, I need to be in everything. It's all mine. And
you just enjoy it. You're enjoying it too much. That's what it is.
Yeah, I love it. I'm like the Vince McMahon of this empire, and why not?
But he's left now. He's gone.
Yeah,
he's retired.
Yeah, but it's 77 and I'm 35, so I've still got a while to go.
That's true. I'll get there before you.
Yeah, still got a bit of time before somebody comes into my company and tries to kick me out. I'll be like, I've been here. I created this. You're not even ginger. Well,
I don't even have ginger in my beard.
I know, like you're one of the rare few that doesn't have ginger in the beard. Like it's impressive, my friend.
So I'll get brown and white. That's about it.
Yeah, I couldn't even leave this to my boys because we're no ginger. They're blondies.
No.
So unless one of them had like a gingoplasty or something like that, or just kept wearing loads of fake tan, then I'd be like, well, okay, I can't give you it. Sorry. Okay, man, it's been a blast as always speaking to you, but it's been a blast having you on here as well.
That's been good.
Always enjoy talking to you. What everybody says how well we get on when we do Super Ginge, that we've got good chemistry, and it's because we're good mates. And we want to do something good. And it's shown. We're skyrocketing, man, and it's just gonna get better. And we will finally get that Freddo.
Definitely get the Freddo.
The Freddo is coming.
I mean, I was in Home Bargains today and
let's see,
85 pence for a 5-pack.
That's actually no bad. Tesco's £1, so that's not bad. We could potentially get that 5-pack.
We could. We're closer to it now.
Yeah, definitely, man. We are on the way. We are on the way. So to my faithful followers, I have been Andrew Durnan. This has been the brilliant Kevin Tierney of Super Ginge. You know where to find him because I tell you every fucking day on the socials. If you're not on them, get on them because we are like taking over the internet. The ginger virus is spreading, my friends.
Yep.
So until next time, I was going to do my usual take care and stay safe, but you know what? Since we're on here, why not? Let's do it. He is super,
and he is Ginge,
and we gotta go. Bye.
See ya.